Pressure burst pipes, man.
Yeah.
The greatest gift Mike Krzyzewski gave Jon Scheyer was a free and clear year one.
Okay.
With, by Duke standards, very low to no standards, because after being razed to the ground in the Final Four by North Carolina, where does one go from there?
Oh, sure. It was freeing.
So there was a pressure-free season last year. And also, by the way, they struggled early in the season, and John figured it out. So he did great work last year. They won the ACC. This year, you come in, and now everybody and their mother's telling you how great you are.
Yeah.
You still have a lot of the same parts last year. You don't have Derek Lively, who was very important to you defensively, to your point. You also you added guys who are all 5-star guys. They're not all created equal, because you look at their freshmen, and I don't want to blame their freshmen for their problems, but what are they adding?
Yeah.
Their freshmen are adding a lot of nothing right now.
Yeah,
that's a problem.
They're essentially role players. So Caleb Foster coming off the bench in absence of Tyrese Proctor.
And then you had Proctor, who was playing at an elevated level by the end of last year. He has regressed. I don't know if that's because people are in his ear telling him how great he is. I don't know if he put the work in. I don't know, but he's regressed.
Sure.
Before the injury here. So you add all of those things together, and guess who was super interested in playing you? Georgia Tech, Arkansas, everybody. And you might say, oh, that's Duke. No, it wasn't last year, sir. It was not. So, yeah, man, this is the same thing we saw with Carolina last year. And by the way, the similarity there is the team wasn't all that talented to begin with. Like this Duke team and the way that they played at the end of last year figured some things out.
They had an identity.
They knew who they were.
And
they knew how to play together. They knew their roles.
I think that's the biggest surprise about the start of Duke's year is that they went from looking like a team that had an identity. And maybe I'm underselling the importance of Derek Lively and what he brought to the table. Because Derek Lively, I remember talking to some people who were like, man, Derek Lively is going to go down as one of the most overhyped Duke recruits that didn't really contribute. Until Derek Lively figured out, oh, wait a minute. You mean I can affect the game
without scoring?
What? Awesome. And it unlocked Duke the rest of the way. So they clearly missed that right now.
Yeah.
They do not have the early defensive identity that we saw from them at the end of last year.
I also just don't think they're super talented.
But you can get by on that because look at this gets to the macro.
It's easier to be super talented.
Let's get to the macro.
Let me just tell you, it's easier to be super talented. Just overwhelm people with talent.
Let's get to the macro. Did you see the results of the weekend? Everybody lost. I mean, shout out to UNCW, man. Siddle doing something at UNCW that's never happened before. They beat a ranked team there. Okay. And that sent Matt Jones at Kentucky Sports Radio into a social media spiral, man. Like this never happens to elite teams, which of course gets to a larger issue. Who are the elite teams?
Yeah.
There are no elite teams right now. I don't think there's going to be an elite team. College basketball has changed entirely. Yes, you look at the Blue Bloods and you expect excellence out of them. But man, that ship has sailed. They're going to take some of these L's and you're going to have to reassess. Hey man, giving UNCW a shout out to App State basketball. They beat Auburn this weekend.
Shit, be happy we won.
I feel like that's an attitude that some of these Blue Bloods should take right now. You allow them for this modern era of college basketball to form their identities as the season progresses. But speaking of
shit, be happy we won.
NC State, just be happy they pulled it out in overtime against Boston College. As I heard Kevin Keats in the post-game radio show with Tony Haynes, he's like, look, man, any ACC win is a golden win, in my opinion. These things are worth their weight in gold. And yeah, go on the road and beating Boston College. Say what you want. Wasn't the prettiest thing, but they won the game. They got their ice cream going forward.
Won the game in overtime by learning from the BYU game.
Yes.
By the end of that game, every possession was to DJ Burns. There was a paint touch. There was let's run this thing through. Who has to be our best player? So that's there was a lesson learned there for NC State.
Now, all of this wind up and lead up. I'm sure there are some people in the listening audience going, "Y'all gonna get to Carolina finally?" I was getting to that. UNC seems to have an identity. UNC, this iteration, with the additions from Hubert Davis through the portal, seems to be approaching this year completely differently than what we saw last year. And that is a game, it's been said before, but I think it's absolutely true. This is a game against Florida State that they would have lost last year.
Oh, down double digits in the second half for sure.
Slogging through 30 minutes of basketball and just not really having it the rest of the way.
Not great from three at any point really in the game.
Nope. However, there was a switch in the attitude and they went to the press. So they used their defense. One of the things that I questioned after the Tennessee win, defensively, does UNC have that in them? Well, they utilized that defense to pressure Florida State and create that into a huge swing with about 10 minutes to go during that stretch. If it was around the 10-minute mark, I'm trying to remember this off the top of my head. Anyway, so I really do like the way Carolina has gone about their November, early December. And it gives me a lot of optimism going forward that last year just was a hangover from crushing Duke's dreams and a bad fit and validation that something on that roster had to change. And as much as people were freaking out about the transfers out at UNC, it was more important to see who Hubert Davis was going to bring in. And so far, the results have been positive for the Tar Heels.
I just want to take this time to thank Clint Gwaltney for the schedule that Carolina has this year.
Yeah.
I mean, can't get any better than this.
It's a great schedule.
I mean, Villanova, Arkansas, Tennessee, UConn, Kentucky, Oklahoma. What else in the world can you possibly want? So love it. And that was very easy. That was a very losable game on Saturday, coming off of pouring it out against Tennessee, feeling chesty, feeling good about who you are, falling down in the game. And then, props to RJ Davis too. I know what your point is about Ingram. I'm watching them come back playing defensively, and I'll just keep saying this when I watch Carolina. Bacot is at his best when he's rebounding and just getting all of that garbage and giving it back to those skill players to do something with the ball. I thought Davis was spectacular in the second half of this game.
For whatever reason, last year the pieces did not fit. I don't know. Maybe it's because I've been revisiting the
pressure bursts. Pipes.
Yeah, but also, maybe it's because I've been listening to Tool, revisiting the Tool discography lately. And
for real,
I know the pieces fit. Sometimes the pieces have to fit.
Oh, that's Filter. I almost said, "Hey man, nice shot."
No. That was wrong band. Wrong band.
No, Tool never had a song that had a melody in it ever.
No, it's like it's prog rock.
Yeah.
You have to be in an altered state of mind to truly appreciate Tool, especially with their later albums.